नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्। हरे कृष्ण dear devotees. So let me share my desktop this time. And please, I just want to confirm that you can see both the Veda base as well as the slides. So can someone please confirm that, because we are going to switch between slides and Veda base.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. So last time we read the text 5, which is a description of the surrounding of Goloka, where we read that it is surrounded by Shweta Dvipa, and then there are many different parts of the around the Shweta Dvipa we learned, and then we browse through this in the slides. So the Shweta Dvipa, so Shweta Dvipa around the Goloka proper is the White Island, and then there are four divisions which are the places, abodes of the four residing deities. The first Chaturvya, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And then the first, the fourfold, the four Purusharthas are surrounded by that, the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and the four Vedas personified are there. So these are all original, because the material world is also a reflection of this spiritual world. So the origin of this, all the four Vedas and four Purusharthas are coming from there. And then there are on the 10 directions, there are 10 tridents or shula, which are fixed to protect this whole abode. And there are also on these 10 directions, there are dikpalas who are in the form of mantras, and we learned that they are protecting this abode of Lord Sri Krishna. And there is a hue in the form of blue, yellow, red, and white. So that's what we have learned. And then last time we also saw uh, Gokula is the seat of transcendental love and devotion, and only it is not accessible to non-devotees particularly. So anybody who is on the path of dhyana yoga or ashtanga yoga or even karmi, or less intelligent people who are karmis, they are covered by the seven coverings of the universe. That's what we saw. And then even the devotees who are trying to go there, but they are allured or charmed by Vaikuntha, do not reach there. And that's why this is only the only devotees who are in the mood of Vrajavasis can get there. Then the destination of non-devotees, this also we saw in the last discussion. The persons who are trying to enjoy the materialistic fruits, who are the karmis, so they remain only in the bhu, bhuva, swa, in the three planetary systems. Then higher than those who are the brahmacharis or the great austerity, who perform great austerities or ascetics, they move up and down within the upper planetary system, that Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. And above that is the abode of Brahmaji, that is Satyaloka, and above which is the Vaikuntha of Kshirodakshai Vishnu, who is lying in the ocean of milk. And above that, beyond the material universe, is the Brahma Jyoti, or the effulgence of the Lord, in which where the demons who are killed by Lord Sri Krishna, or the Paramahamsa sannyasis, when they get liberation, they merge into Brahman. So that's what we discussed last time. So continuing, there is something very interesting I found in the purport here, is that even the devotees of different categories do not get to Goloka Vrindavan. And those are mentioned in the purport are the devotees who are like a Jnana Mishra Bhakta, who are in the knowledge, even the devotees who are in pure devotional aptitude, who are Shuddha Bhakta, who are not in tinge of any of the material modes of nature, who are on the who are pure Bhakta, or even who are engaged in devotional service of the Lord in loving devotion, Prema Bhakta. Even beyond that, pure love, the Prema Para Bhakta, and overwhelming love, Prema Tura Bhakta. Even all these devotees, they do not attain the Goloka Vrindavan. They attain the Vaikuntha planets, different categories or different planetary systems in the Vaikuntha realm, uh, which is still transcendental realm. But Golokas is said to be so extraordinary and unachievable that even the devotees in this mode cannot attain that. Then who can attain? So this Gokula or Goloka is most hidden principle and is realized by only the greatest souls who have highest transcendental love by grace of Kṛṣṇa. So those are the key words, by grace of Kṛṣṇa, and they do not care for anything beyond satisfaction for Kṛṣṇa. And those devotees, we can see from the 10th canto, what we are reading right now, that the devotees or the Vrajavasis, they are in that mode. So devotees who are imbued with all love and who walk in the footsteps of the spiritual mates, the gopis of Vraja, alone can attain this realm of Goloka. So it is mentioned here in the purport that it is not for the devotees who are even in love to attain possible to attain the Goloka Vrindavan. So the devotees that are mentioned by Jiva Goswami's commentary, he mentions that he gives some examples from Srimad Bhagavatam about the pure devotees, and he refers to this verse, beautiful verse, where devotees who are in the mood of just service of the Lord and they don't care even any type of liberation when it is awarded by the Lord. So here in the third canto, 29th chapter, when Kapil, Bhagwan Kapila is instructing his mother Devahuti, he quotes this word, he mentions about this, that Salokya Sashti Samipya Sarupyaikatvam Diyamanam na grihnati vina mat sevanam jana. That there are 5 types of liberation. Salokya, one who gets to live in the places or abode of the Lord. Samipya, who gets direct association of the Lord. Sarupya, who gets the same opulences or same form of the Lord, the four-handed form. Or Sayurja, one who gets merged into the Lord, or Brahman in the Brahman, or what is it? Sarlokya, Samipya, Sayujya, and Sashti. So Sashti is getting opulences similar to the Lord. But they don't care. Diyamanam na grihnati. Even though Lord is ready to give them this, they don't accept it. Vina mat sevanam jana. Unless there is opportunity to serve the Lord. And that's what they are always seeking for. And that is what the pure devotees who are always seeking for loving devotional service to the Lord. Then he also, Jiva Goswami also gives some description about even getting the glimpse of that Goloka Vrindavan is not possible for ordinary devotees, but he gives a reference from the 10th canto, 20th chapter, few verses, when Lord Kṛṣṇa, when Nanda Maharaj was captured by Varuna Dev, and Lord Kṛṣṇa rescues him from his clutches. And when Nanda Maharaj comes back, returns to the Vrindavan, then the conversation between the Gopas and Nanda Maharaj, there he describes, they talk about that, oh, Lord Kṛṣṇa, he may be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then they have that desire that they want to see his abode. And that's where Kṛṣṇa gives them the glimpse of the supreme abode for some time. And that's probably we can read those verses from here. Those are very beautiful translations here. So when Nanda Maharaj was rescued by Kṛṣṇa and he was brought back to Vrindavan from the, probably we'll read from the 9th verses. So thus satisfied, he satisfies Varuna. So where Varuna worships Kṛṣṇa and by his opulence and everything, reverence for Kṛṣṇa, Nanda Maharaj is very, very surprised. So Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the Lords, took his father and returned home, where their relatives were overjoyed to see him and Nanda Maharaj. So Nanda Maharaj has been astonished when he goes to the Varuna's palace and see their opulence. Even he is astonished with that. To see the first time the great opulence of Varuna, the ruler of the ocean planet, and also to see how Varuna and his servants had offered such humble respect to Kṛṣṇa. Nanda described all this to his fellow cowherd men. And hearing about Kṛṣṇa's pastime with Varuna, the cowherd men considered that Kṛṣṇa must be the Supreme Lord. And in their minds, O king, so he is referring, Shukadeva Goswami is referring to Parikshit Maharaj here, were filled with eagerness. They thought, will the Supreme Lord bestow upon us his transcendental abode? So they have a little desire to see his transcendental abode. And then Kṛṣṇa realizes that. Because he sees everything, Lord Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, automatically understood what the cowherd men were conjecturing. Wanting to show his compassion to them by fulfilling their desire, the Lord thought as follows. So only by his kripa or compassion one can see his abode. So then Lord Kṛṣṇa thought, certainly people in this world are wandering among higher and lower destinations, which they achieve through the activities performed according to their desires and without full knowledge. Thus people do not know their real destination. So here Kṛṣṇa is having compassion for the people in this world generally, where they do not know what their real destination is, and just by following, even they follow the Vedic literature and follow all and rules and regulations, but just following all their karma and because of their desires, they are just transmigrating from one body to another body and going to upper and lower planetary system. So thus, deeply considering the situation, the all-merciful Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, revealed to the cowherd men his abode, which is beyond the material darkness. So Lord Kṛṣṇa revealed the indestructible spiritual effulgence, which is unlimited. So first he revealed them the Brahma Jyoti, the effulgence, where all the Vaikuntha planets are there. Unlimited, conscious and eternal. Sages see the spiritual existence in trance when their consciousness is free of the modes of material nature. The cowherd men were brought by Lord Kṛṣṇa to Brahmarida. So there is a lake called Brahmarida in the spirit, and where Lord Kṛṣṇa dips them and then made to submerge in the water and then lifted up from the same vantage point that Akrura saw the spiritual world. Now this pastime comes after this, when Akrura comes to take Balaram and Kṛṣṇa to Mathura by the order of Kamsa. So on their way back, Akrura was also given this glimpse of the spiritual world. The cowherd men saw the planet of the absolute truth. And what did they see? So Nanda Maharaj and other cowherd men felt greatest happiness when they saw that transcendental abode. They were especially amazed to see Kṛṣṇa himself there. And that's what we will read in the next verses. Who is the Lord of that Goloka Vrindavan? Kṛṣṇa himself there, surrounded by the personified Vedas who were offering him prayers. So that's the glimpse that Kṛṣṇa gives to Nanda Maharaj and the Gopas of the spiritual world, that Goloka Vrindavan. So now, continuing to this, let's read the next verse then. Brahma jyotir-mayo devaḥ sad-ānandaḥ parāt paraḥ ātmārāmasya tasyāsti prakṛtyā na samāgamaḥ. So here it is further said that Deva, who is the Supreme Lord there in the Goloka Vrindavan, that is Kṛṣṇa. So he is transcendental, he is jyotir-mayo, he is beyond the material tinge. And then sad-ānandaḥ, he is always in the self eternal ecstasy, and he is the supreme among all the supremes, all the superiors, parāt paraḥ. So all the superiors, just like it is, we saw in the very first verse, Ishvara Parama Kṛṣṇa. So everybody is superior in some or the other way, or everybody is controller who has control over something. But not everybody is the supreme controller. Kṛṣṇa is the supreme controller, or Kṛṣṇa is the supreme person. So he is called here parāt paraḥ. He is the superior of all the superiors. And ātmārāmasya, he is eternally engaged in enjoyment in that transcendental realm. And his enjoyment is not dependent on any of the external factors. He is self-sufficient for his enjoyment. And if he wants, he creates anything for his own enjoyment. But tasyāsti prakṛtyā na samāgamaḥ. But he does not have any association, samāgamaḥ, with prakriti or his material nature or maya. So that's what is mentioned here. So Lord of the Gokula, that's Kṛṣṇa, is the transcendental Supreme Godhead, the own self of eternal ecstasies. He is the superior of all the superiors and is busily engaged in the enjoyment of transcendental realm and has no association with the mundane potency. So the mundane potency, he is only in contact with the spiritual energy. His potency, Kṛṣṇa's potency, soul potency, is only spiritual potency. So the mundane potency is called as reflection of that potency, because the spiritual realm, including the Goloka Vrindavan and the Vaikuntha planets and Brahma Jyoti, is all surrounded by Viraja river. And beyond, on the other side of the Viraja river, there is a reflection of that is the material energy. And that is, so Kṛṣṇa is never in direct association with that material energy. But, so let's go to this here. So the soul potency of Kṛṣṇa is always completely spiritual, and by only her grace, in the purport, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur mentions that only by spiritual potency's grace, the marginal potency, that is the living entities, can when they are qualified, they can enter into the Goloka pastime. And this deluding energy or maya is perverted reflection of that chit potency. But even though it is perverted reflection, Kṛṣṇa always claims that even that maya is his energy, daivi esha gunamayi mama maya durattaya. So that is very difficult to cross beyond. And this deluding energy is far from having any association with Kṛṣṇa. So Kṛṣṇa is never ever comes in contact with this material energy. Even when he comes here in the Gokula or in this universe, material universe, when performing his pastimes, he never directly comes in contact with the material energy. And she feels ashamed to appear before him. This is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when Lord Vyasdev, after instructions from Narada Muni, when he starts writing Bhagavatam, that time he sees Kṛṣṇa as well as he sees Maya behind him, but Maya is always behind him, not facing Kṛṣṇa directly. And then here in this in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmaji, in his prayer, he also mentions that in that personal abode, he refers to the personal abode of Kṛṣṇa, Goloka Vrindavan. The Lord, the modes of passion and ignorance do not prevail. nor is there any of their influence of goodness. There is no predominance of time. So, what to speak of the illusory material energy? It cannot enter that region. So, material energy is so Kṛṣṇa is, and the Golok Vrindavan or the spiritual world is never touched by his the material energy. And then further, I think here the position of here it is also mentioned that the position of Goloka being absolutely unalloyed, so it is not a tinge of material nature is there with the mundane deluding energy, is far from having association with Kṛṣṇa. She feels ashamed to appear before him. In the next verse, but it says that even though Kṛṣṇa does not have any association with material energy, it is still under full control of Kṛṣṇa. Then how is controlling this? So that's what he mentioned. It is mentioned here. Māyayāramamāṇasya na viyogas tayā saha ātmanā ramayā reme tyakta-kālaṁ sisṛkṣayā. So māyayāramamāṇasya, even though he is never in concert with Maya, Kṛṣṇa, na viyogas tayā saha, he is also not completely separate from Maya. Na viyoga. So he is never completely separate from Maya also. Then how does he control? ātmanā ramayā reme. So he controls the Maya or the deluding energy of Kṛṣṇa, Prakriti, through his spiritual energy, indirectly. Tyakta-kālaṁ. How? By the means of time. So the Rama or the spiritual potency through the agency of time is controlled just for the desire of Kṛṣṇa for creation. And he doesn't control it directly. He appears as by his incarnation as Mahavishnu. Through the glance he is controlling them, and that is also through the spiritual potency. So Kṛṣṇa never consorts with his illusionary energy, that is Maya. Still, her connection is not entirely cut off from the absolute truth. When he intends to create the material world, the amorous pastime, in which he engages by consorting with his spiritual chit potency, Rama, by casting his glance at the deluding energy in the shape of sending his time energy, by tyakta-kālaṁ, by sending the time energy, and is an auxiliary activity, is always supported. Even the material energy, even though he is not in contact, is always supported by Kṛṣṇa. And in the purport, it is mentioned that the illusory energy has no direct contact with Kṛṣṇa, but has got indirect contact. So Vishnu is the prime cause lying in the causal ocean. The plenary portion of Mahasankarshan has the seat in Mahavaikuntha, the sphere of Kṛṣṇa's own abode, extended the transcendental pastime, and he casts the glance toward the deluding energy. And even this casting of glance is not direct, it is coordinated by the spiritual energy or the chit potency Rama. So Kṛṣṇa, even though he is not in direct contact with the spiritual, the material energy, it is still under his control. So the thought I had when I was reading this, maybe I don't know, that I was thinking of maybe a crude example. When in a family, in generally, husband is the one who is supporting the family, wife is taking care of everything, and then the maid servant who is taking of the chores under the control of wife. So even that maid servant is in a way under control of the husband, because he is the one who is supporting the whole family, but he never gets in direct contact with the maid servant. It is always controlled. Even if he wants something, it is always controlled through wife, and she is the one who is giving orders or instructions. Even for husband, he wants something to that maid servants. So that's the general conception I had when I was thinking about this, how Kṛṣṇa is controlling this. So the illusory energy has no direct contact with Kṛṣṇa, we saw that, and the glance of the spiritual potency through the agency of Rama in the way of time, he is controlling this, and the Purusha Avatara by his glance is controlling the material energy. And Kṛṣṇa is transcendental to material energy. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, when Arjuna offers his prayers, when Arjuna is following Ashwatthama because he kills the Draupadi's 5 sons, when he's offering prayers, he mentions that Kṛṣṇa, you are never in association with the material energy. Even when you appear in this world, material world, you are always in touch only with the spiritual energy. And then in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 3rd canto, Kapil Dev, when he's instructing, he mentions about this to Devahuti, that the influence of Supreme Personality of Godhead is felt in the time factor in the material world, which causes fear of death due to the false ego and the deluded soul who has contacted material energy. So through the time agency, he is controlling all the living entities in the material world and whole material creation. So those are the few points I had for this. It is almost 28, so we can take some reflections and thoughts. So thank you very much. Yes, Mataji.
Sudev Sakhi Mataji.
Sudev Sakhi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you so much for your nice presentation with proper pictures and explanations of the verses with the bullet points and all. It is really easy for us to understand it, and also the example which you cited at the last to understand how the maid servant is under the control of the husband, but actually he doesn't directly interact. That it is taken care by the wife. That example was very much appealing. We could understand how it could have happened in the process of creation, how the Lord operates without being in direct contact with the material energy. It was a really nice example. Also, I was wondering on the point where we reached today, where you were mentioning about Gokula, where the Lord is worshipped by the personified Vedas. At least we didn't read that part, I think, but you did mention about it. And I'm eager to read more about that, because I had heard once from Vijay Prabhu about Aishwarya Goloka, which is the region of Goloka, where the Lord is worshipped in awe and reverence. So I always have heard that Goloka is a place where it is not awe and reverence, right? Because awe and reverence is part of Vaikuntha Loka, that is a mode in Vaikuntha Loka. But this region of Gokula or Goloka is the place where the Lord is worshipped in awe and reverence. And that point came up because you mentioned today in the slides that it is not possible for these kind of devotees also who are too much in pure love and all that, those categories you mentioned, which I don't know the definitions also, but they cannot reach, Goloka. They reach Vaikuntha. So once I had questioned that if we are worshipping Kṛṣṇa, Radharani, and we know that Kṛṣṇa is a supreme, and our devotion is solely fixed for Kṛṣṇa and Radharani, then how come we will go to Vaikuntha? That was my question. So then I think that was the answer, that sometimes there are regions even in Goloka where there is worship in awe and reverence, because we might be still following Vaidhi Bhakti and not reach the point of Raganuga, because Raganuga is only by the mercy of the Lord. we cannot artificially enter that realm. So could you please share some more details about it, Prabhu?
So I was thinking about that, Mataji, because when I read those words and it said that, oh, even the pure prematura bhakta, or even they don't have access to Goloka. So it was kind of a surprise to me. And just in my mind, I typically think in practical examples because that's what I can relate to. These are all theoretical points. So I was thinking, if a big business tycoon, if he has a relationship with many of his business employees, many friends and everybody, but to the core of his house or core of his place where it's very private place, nobody, even though his best friends may not have access to that, or they cannot go and associate with him there. Who can associate with him there is very close family members. So, and the example given here was only the devotees who are on following the footsteps of the maid servants of Braja or the gopis. Only that type of devotees have access, and they don't care anything for them. And then uh, we I was thinking of the pastime that the wives of brahmanas who didn't care anything. And there are so many examples there were given. The brahmanas were very learned, they were performing, they knew the Vedic literatures, they knew all the rituals, they were performing yajna. But when Kṛṣṇa sent his friends to ask for some food, they rejected that. They didn't even pay attention to them. But on the other hand, when Kṛṣṇa sent his friends to their wives, they just gave up everything, even the social etiquettes, that what will their husbands say, what will their families say, or anything, and they just ran to serve Kṛṣṇa. And not only they did go there, they were not ready to return back. Kṛṣṇa had to convince them that you should go back now and help your husband in those years. And one more point towards the end of that pastime, I see that the Brahmanas realized their mistake. But even after realizing their mistake and knowing that Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they did not go him because they were still afraid of Kamsa. Which their wives, they did not have fear, they did not have so-called social shame or anything. So that type of love is extraordinary, and that is the qualification to enter into the realm of Lord. So that's my thought, Prabhu. Shankaran Prabhu, if you want to add anything.
No, Prabhu. Thanks. Hari Hari.
Thank you.
Sorry, Prabhu, I'm on a phone call. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much for giving us a glimpse of what kind of mood the devotees must be of to be able to be eligible to even enter the Gokula or the Goloka. Yeah, so yeah, because I often think, because if we are always thinking of Radha and Krishna and serving them, of course Prabhupada told us to worship them in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. So what is our destination? That is a common question, I think. Yeah, so because we are still sadhana, I mean, we are also still sadhakas, and even to reach the topmost level of Vaidhi Bhakti itself is something far beyond probably in the same lifetime. Yeah, sometimes we think that what it takes to go to Goloka. Yeah, so like of course we will not be in a mood to go to Vaikunta, because after knowing everything, we would always aspire to reach Radha Krishna rather than Lord, where he's worshipped as Narayan and Lakshmi and something like that. So could you give us some information clue or some last
I think
as to
Shweta Mataji has some question.
Yeah,
Mataji.
I'll point out one verse quickly from Srimad Bhagavatam that comes to my mind, where Kapila Muni says that prasangam nahi satam prasangan mama virya samvido bhavanti ritkarana rasayana katha tajjoshanad ashu apavarga vartmani shraddha rati bhaktir anukramishati. So what we are doing, we are all on the right path, Mataji. And we just have to depend on his mercy, Radha Krishna's mercy. And Satam Prasangan, so in the association of devotees, pure devotees, when we hear his Mama Virya Samvido, when we hear his Katha, Krishna Katha, and these pastimes, that's what we are doing right now. So we are on the path of liberation, and then eventually as Shraddha, Rati, and Bhakti will develop, Anukramashyati. So we, at least for now, we have enough faith that we meet here and sit together and discuss this thing. We have developed little bit taste, but by his mercy, it will grow eventually. And then that real bhakti eventually by his mercy we will get. So I think we are all on the right path. We are fortunate to have this association. So we should continue and just wait for Krishna's mercy and develop that greed for Krishna's love that I see you already have. So thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Shweta Mataji, we can quickly get question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much for this class. It's really I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the point that we have to have the mode of like following gopis to be able to enter Goloka. So one question I had is in the 5.7 or 5.6, I think it was mentioned that there is something called time auxiliary energy. I was not able to understand more about that because I've heard about superior energy, inferior energy. What is time auxiliary energy? Is it are they trying to say that when he's creating the material world, that is when this is also manifested? Or is it part of the spiritual realm itself?
So time auxiliary energy, auxiliary means to support. So even though Krishna says that, or it is said that Krishna is not in direct association with the material energy, na samāgamaḥ, but tyakta-kālaṁ. So by the time energy, it is still supported. So that support is still there. It is not independent, even though Maya is there. But you know what?
So this is in the material world, right? Not
in the material world.
Material. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see what is the meaning of word auxiliary. So provided supplementary or additional help or support. So he is not the material energy is not directly supported, but through the agency of spiritual energy,
okay,
by means of time, it is supported. But it is still dependent on Krishna. It is not independent.
Okay.
That's what my understanding is, Mataji, based on this translation.
So and then Prabhu, so in Goloka, if there is no concept of time there, are all the entities over there staying the same? Like they don't age? How is so how is that working there? That's the one question.
I wish I had a good answer, but we talked about this earlier, I think, in some other discussion, and so their devotees mood based on how they want to serve the Lord. They can be old, they can be young, they can be whatever mode they have, the reciprocation what they have with Lord Krishna. So they can eternally do the same thing.
Wow.
So there is no concept of time.
Yeah.
Because time is, as we read from one of the verses, time adds the fear of death in the material world, and that's why that also limits. So everything here goes through Shadavikar because of the time. Everything are 6 transformations. Everything takes birth, it grows, it stays for some time, it creates byproducts, it dwindles and it dies. But that is not there in spiritual world, because and spiritual world, the mode is only to serve Krishna. So they are eternally serving in the mood what they have with the reciprocal relationship what they have with Krishna. So that's what my understanding is, Mataji. I wish I had a better answer than that. But
Yeah, no problem. This is also good.
No.
Thank you.
thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So maybe we'll take one last thought.
No, yes, Prabhuji, it's not a question, but Shweta Mataji was saying about we should be following in the footsteps of the gopis, the maidservants of gopis, in order to be able to go to Goloka. So I was just wondering, yes, we are definitely Rupanugas because we're following the instructions of Rupa Goswami, and but definitely there are different rasas. There are devotees in different rasas, not just the mood of gopis, right, which is the topmost, of course, but there are other kind of rasas also, like vatsalya bhava. So anybody like when we are doing our sadhana bhakti in the Vaidi thing, and when by the grace of Lord, if someone he feels that you're eligible, I think that's the time we come in contact with some devotees who are Brajavasis, or the in whose footsteps we get inspired to follow in their footsteps, because we are inspired in a certain rasa with the Lord. We have that contact the Lord with in a certain mood, and it could be different. It need not be madhurya rasa. It could be vatsalya, it could be sakhya, or any other thing, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. Even the trees, grass, bees, birds, everything is in mood of service to Krishna. Everyone, and all these things are personalities who are eternally serving Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan.
So Prabhu, in that case, if you're considering Vatsalya Rasa and all of that, right? So we can consider Krishna as our son,
Yeah.
and love him in that way.
Yeah.
And also, can we still achieve Goloka in that case, or should we still have the mode of gopis?
To my understanding, yes, and I would probably need help from Shankaran Prabhuji there to confirm. I don't want to say something which I maybe not correct, but my answer would be yes.
Sorry, what was that question?
Can you repeat your question, Shweta Mataji?
Sure. So I think we were discussing about who can enter the Goloka, right? And what we learned today was if you follow the footsteps of Gopi, you will be able to enter Goloka. But there's also question about there are other types of rasas, right? From Rupa Goswami's book, there is Vatsalya rasa and other kinds of rasa which I'm not sure. But I think so my question is, if we're also considering Krishna as our son, if we love him in the Vatsalya rasa, can we still enter Goloka?
Yes, Mataji. The whole idea is, but not to become sahajiyas and start taking Krishna as very cheaply, that he's my child, because that requires the extremely purified and elevated state of consciousness. It's not to imitate the Brajavasis. It's like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda. It is actually very elevated position, and it's advised not to imitate or try to treat Krishna in that way. Best is to worship Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the service attitude, like Lord Chaitanya is our master and we are his servants, and that will automatically give rise to the prema, the love for the Supreme Lord, following the footsteps of Brajavasis.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's actually without knowing, like knowingly or unknowingly, I worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a lot every day. I think because Krishna, I can't relate to him much, so I can relate to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because of his teachings, and he's just been here 500 years back, so I feel like I can relate to him more. Yeah, that really helps. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So,
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.